So Caitlin Clark yesterday was arguing with referees, and as expected, yeah, they're trying to get her banned. They're trying to get Caitlin Clark suspended. It is genuinely, trying to get her suspended.
Rival fans are losing it, demanding Caitlin Clark be suspended just for talking to refs while injured. Seriously? Is this the WNBA or high school drama club? She's the face of her team, of course she's going to stay involved. But nope, the league treats her like a threat instead of a talent. Why is everyone so afraid of Caitlin Clark?
That was not underneath the basket. That was hard to see. The back-to-back. She had her back to her. It was in the open area. At least two of the refs, if not three of them, should have seen that foul. Caitlin pointed to it. They still didn't blow their whistle.
So let's get this straight. Caitlin Clark is injured, limping around on one good leg, probably held together by Hope and KT tape, and somehow that's when rival fans decide she needs to be suspended. For what, exactly? For talking to referees? For daring to still participate in a game like every other star player in the history of professional sports? Is that now a crime? Is existing on the court while being Caitlin Clark the new flag foul?
They're trying to get her suspended. And by the way, this is coming from the same people that try to get her kicked out of the league. So, there is a tweet going semi-viral right now. And by the way, there's a lot more. There is a lot more tweets in this. This is just the one that I've seen. And this is just a funny thing.
This is what happens when the league, the media, and opposing fan bases decide they're allergic to greatness. Caitlin Clark, whether anyone likes it or not, is the headline. She's the reason thousands of new fans are watching the WNBA. She's the reason Indiana's arena doesn't sound like a church bingo night anymore. But instead of celebrating that, rival fans are foaming at the mouth, demanding she be punished for participating.
2 weeks. But more importantly, do you guys love the WNBA or do you just love Caitlin Clark? We're going to take a deep dive on that because when she got hurt, I was like, well, that's part of sports. She's an athlete. She's going to get hurt. Oh, but the sky started to fall when Caitlin Clark got hurt.
Have you ever seen LeBron James limping up and down the court, talking to refs, calling out plays? Did anyone say he should be suspended? When Diana Taurasi went full alpha mode and barked at officials for half her career, was there a movement to get her benched? So why is it that when Caitlin Clark does the most mundane thing, communicate with referees, it suddenly becomes a crime against humanity? Where is that same energy for literally every other player?
Person is literally, so in the last 10 days, has called for Caitlin Clark to be investigated for fraud, tagging the WNBA. And again, do you want to know what the funniest thing about all of this is? Is that I would think nothing of this if it wasn't for the fact that WNBA have literally opened an investigation based on Twitter. Well, almost certainly based on Twitter.
It's like everyone in the WNBA woke up one morning and said, you know what would be fun? Targeting the one player who's boosting our league visibility by 25%. That's not a random stat. That's the real deal. A single rookie walks into the league and suddenly every game she's in becomes must-watch television. And how does the league respond? With silence, with apathy, with a side of let her figure it out herself. As if letting refs and opposing players treat her like a punching bag is just some kind of hazing ritual. Spoiler alert, it's not. It's negligence and it's cowardice. Ask yourself this. Why is Caitlin Clark the only one who gets zero benefit of the doubt? Why is she expected to play perfect basketball, say perfect words, and behave like a monk, while others can throw elbows, talk trash, and physically confront her without consequences? Are the rules different for her? Because from the looks of it, they sure seem to be.
Caitlin Clark is driving the WNBA insane. It's to the point that she may need to step away from the WNBA, have a billionaire come in that has the money to prove a point, and say, Caitlin, I'll pay you $50 million just to see if the WNBA can make it without you. Let's go create a complete different league and expose the hell out of the WNBA.
It's like the entire league has turned into a bad reality show called Who Wants to Humble Caitlin Clark This Week? And the prize? A brief moment of internet applause before they fade back into irrelevance. It's not about fairness. It's not about sportsmanship. It's about fear. The league is scared. Players are scared. Fans are terrified. Because Caitlin Clark doesn't just play basketball. She redefines what's possible in it. And that kind of talent, that kind of spotlight, it makes people uncomfortable. So what do? They try to dim her light. They twist her every move into something scandalous. They weaponize the media to paint her as arrogant, entitled, or ungrateful, as if speaking to referees while you're clearly injured is some form of diva behavior. As if showing leadership when you're down physically is a bad thing. Make that make sense.
Is it okay to come on the floor and argue the ref? I can guarantee you the commissioner will think nothing is wrong since it's Clark. And in the last week, that same person has tweeted this. And she was the original person that made the viral tweet. That made the viral tweet with 1.7 million views, saying you need to take a closer look at why Clark was pressuring her coach to be let back in the game when they were up over 20 points. It resulted in Dave Portnoy placing a bet. It resulted from play.
Let's also talk about the WNBA itself, because if this league had even an ounce of sense or the tiniest bit of self-preservation, they'd be wrapping Caitlin Clark in bubble wrap, hiring her a personal security team, and maybe throwing in a few referees who can actually see straight. Instead, they've let her get blindsided on screens, slammed to the hardwood, shoved off balance, and then penalized for daring to react like a normal human being. No flagrant fouls, no technicals on the aggressors, no fines, no ejections, and certainly no public statements defending her. Just silence. Deafening, calculated silence. Now imagine the situation reversed. Let's say Caitlin Clark drops someone with a hard screen and walks away like nothing happened. You'd have league officials holding a press conference before the fourth quarter ended. Sports networks would run the footage in slow motion for a week, dissecting her body language like it's the Zapruder film. There would be debates, apologies demanded, suspensions floated, think pieces written. But when she's the one getting clobbered, crickets, absolutely nothing, as if her safety, her talent, and her value to the league don't matter in the slightest.
But what has happened since Caitlin Clark has gotten hurt? Now, it's pretty tough to talk about the viewership because she just got hurt, so the TV ratings haven't come all the way in. But there are some indicators out there, such as there were ticket prices for the next Fever versus Sky matchup. And guess what? They dropped by 71% right after the news of her injury. And then they're talking about the growth of the WNBA, how it's supposed to be unprecedented this year. But now that will come to a halt as well, just because of a 2-week injury to Caitlin Clark. Okay, so I've been on here on record saying that it's all about Caitlin Clark for me. And every time I say that, I know the resistance, I know the forces in the headwind against me. You may feel the same way. I hate this world where you just can't say it.
And that raises the obvious question. Is this seriously the league that wants to grow? Is this the kind of welcome the WNBA offers to the very player responsible for a spike in ratings, merchandise sales, and sold-out arenas? Because it's starting to feel less like professional sports and more like middle school politics with a basketball. The message being sent is loud and clear. Caitlin Clark is a threat, not just on the court, but to the status quo. And instead of protecting her, the league is practically handing out brass knuckles to anyone who wants to send a message. So how much longer is the WNBA going to play dumb? How many more elbows to the face, dirty screens, and petty cheap shots does Clark have to take before someone with actual authority steps in and says, enough? Because this isn't basketball anymore. This is targeted harassment, thinly veiled behind the mask of competition. It's jealousy pretending to be defense. It's not tough. It's not gritty. It's petty. It's pathetic. And if the WNBA doesn't fix it soon, they'll be left wondering how they managed to fumble the biggest gift the league has ever been given.
We know what she brings to the table. But people wanted to hate because why? You had a bunch of players in this league that watched this young white girl come along and take the league by storm. And they resented it because they saw the marketing prowess that she had. They ignored the fact that you got chartered flights because of this girl. They ignored the fact that ratings were going through the roof because of this girl. Instead, they resented it because they said, yo, we were doing stuff long before Caitlin Clark got here. And y'all wasn't paying attention then. But now the young white girl comes along and y'all want to sit up there and shower all of this praise and all of this attention that was earned before she ever came along. The resentment is understandable, but it's not about Caitlin Clark. It's about what she represents. My point is, grow up. Who cares? If you're Magic and Bird, that didn't stop Jordan from coming along and doing what he did.
Let's revisit this so-called controversy. Caitlin Clark, nursing an injury, talks to the officials. That's the whole scandal. That's the entire grounds for suspension, apparently. And fans ran with it like it was Watergate. They flooded Twitter, they screamed into comment sections demanding she be punished. These are the same people who probably celebrated when she dropped 30 on their team last week. The same ones who pretend to hate her but can't stop watching her every move. It's obsession masked as outrage. Do they even hear themselves? Suspend her for being a leader? For trying to guide her team while injured? Is this not what every great player does? Why is it only unacceptable when Caitlin Clark does it? Is it because she's white? Is it because she's confident? Is it because she doesn't shrink under pressure? Is it because she makes others feel small by simply showing up and excelling? You can't claim it's about equality or sportsmanship if you're only outraged when she does something everyone else already does.
WNBA, they're having troubles with tickets now because I think Caitlin Clark is out for what? How many weeks is she out? She's ruled out for the June 7th game. That's when she was supposed to meet up with Angel Reese again and Chicago Sky, and there's a massive drop in ticket sales. This is after the take foul that she had on Reese and ended with a shove, and she got a flagrant foul, and they gave Reese and the other chick a foul. And I don't know, I guess she has a left quad strain, and she's gonna miss
at least 4 games, is what they're saying.
Yeah, okay. And the fourth and final of those games is the game against Sky. And so they said after her injury was announced, so check this out. The game on June 7th, the tickets were originally $86. Same seats, now
This isn't just about Caitlin. This is about a culture that punishes women for being dominant, for being vocal, for being competitive. And when that woman happens to be young, popular, and not afraid to take the spotlight, suddenly everyone's rulebook starts to change. The standards get higher, the judgment gets harsher, the expectations become unbearable. Where is the league office while all of this unfolds? Are they blind? Or worse, are they complicit? Because the WNBA has an opportunity here to set the tone. To say that no matter who the player is, fairness matters, protection matters, consistency matters. But they're doing none of that. Instead, they're letting the mob run wild while their biggest draw gets knocked down. Literally and figuratively. And here's the kicker. Caitlin Clark hasn't even said anything controversial. She hasn't punched anyone. She hasn't cursed out the media. She hasn't refused interviews or bashed her teammates. She's done everything right, played hard, showed up, marketed the league better than their PR team ever could, and still, she's enemy number one.
Can we be clear about this? If Caitlin Clark were not in the WNBA, we would not be talking about the WNBA. She's the only ticket draw in the WNBA. A large percentage of all tickets sold in the WNBA are so people can watch Caitlin Clark play basketball.
What does that tell you? That doing everything right still isn't enough when people have already decided they want you to fail. Caitlin Clark could donate half her paycheck to charity, and they'd accuse her of trying to buy good press. She could apologize for getting injured, and they'd accuse her of seeking sympathy. There is no win for her with this crowd. The goalposts aren't just moving, they're in another stadium entirely. So here's the question. How much longer will Caitlin Clark be expected to carry this league on her back while the very people benefiting from her presence treat her like a problem? How much longer before the WNBA grows a spine and defends its star? Because, make no mistake, without her, ratings plummet, attendance drops, national conversations disappear. And all those fans calling for her suspension, they'll be back to watching reruns of Real Housewives instead, the cynic remarks. The same fans begging for her to be suspended are the ones who bought tickets to see her play. The same people trashing her online are the ones driving traffic to WNBA content because they can't stop clicking her name. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing basketball. She's running a masterclass in exposure, and the league is too busy trying to humble her to even cash in properly.
About this. Obviously, Caitlin Clark is a competitor and wants to play. Obviously, every Everyone wants to watch her play, but for me, it's about making sure we address this in a way that doesn't affect her long term.
Sounds totally reasonable. I think obviously she's instrumental to what that team does. She's very important to the league at large, as we've discussed.
You want to grow the league? Then protect the stars. You want to be taken seriously? Then stop turning a blind eye to your most valuable player getting shoved around like she doesn't matter. You want to be progressive and inclusive and competitive? Then stop acting like a teenage clique when a new girl shows up and starts outperforming everyone. The solution is simple. Enforce the rules, penalize the cheap shots, treat your talent with respect. And for the love of basketball, stop acting like Caitlin Clark is the villain in a story she didn't even write. She's not the problem. She's the spotlight, and some people just aren't ready to be seen in it. So here we are. Rival fans want her suspended. The league stays silent. And Caitlin Clark keeps showing up, playing through injuries, carrying the narrative, and still being labeled the issue. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about how threatened they are, nothing will. But go ahead. Keep trying to silence her. Keep ignoring the hits she takes. Keep pretending she's the problem while riding the waves she created. Just don't be surprised when the fans she brought in follow her, not the league that failed to protect her.
Next, Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky game. June 7th, I believe. That's going to be on CBS as well. You think that's going to draw 2.7? I can assure you it won't. You think that's going to draw over 2 million? I can assure you that won't. Over 1 million views, 1 to 1.5 might be the ballpark for that Chicago Sky Indiana Fever game. But if it's anything under 1 million, then people turned off in record numbers. If this next Chicago Sky Indiana Fever game on CBS does anything less than 1 million, people turned off in record.
Because here's the truth they're too scared to say out loud. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's the WNBA's entire storyline right now. She's the reason people are tuning in, buying tickets, and talking about the league in record numbers. The energy, the spotlight, the cultural buzz, it's orbiting around her. And let's be real, no matter how hard they try to spin it, suspend it, or silence it, she's not going anywhere. Not today, not tomorrow, not just because she had the audacity to talk to a referee while injured. This isn't about protocol. It's not about decorum. It's about discomfort. Because when a young woman steps into a league with swagger, skill, and a spotlight bigger than the one they were ready to share, the system panics. Suddenly, every move is under scrutiny. Every word becomes a controversy. But Caitlin isn't here to shrink herself down to make others more comfortable. She's here to play, to win, to change the game. And she's already doing it. You can try to ignore that all you want. You can whisper behind closed doors. But the roar of the crowd and the numbers on the board say it louder. Caitlin Clark is here to stay.